From menacing crypts to impressive castle towers, on today's episode of Kult America, we are visiting the city of Przemyśl. The Przemyśl Market Square is really amazing to me because it's so old. This place was actually built around the second half of the 14th century, and many of the original buildings are still in place. In fact, only the west side of this market square was destroyed around the 18th century. So when I'm here, I really like to take in its old, authentic vibe. This market square is really quaint and actually has a lot of original cobblestone. It's also on a slant, which is something that you don't see too often in European market squares. But the thing I think I love best are these trees. These trees have a kind of menacing and imposing way of stating that this is Przemyśl and we are unique. The city's National Museum is pretty awesome because you can see a lot of archived photos of the city from its old glory days. And I also find one fact interesting. Poland, being a very homogeneous country, actually had one Italian settler here in Przemyśl who was the architect of the building which today hosts the city's historic museum. It's amazing this furniture is from the first half of the 17th century. And I cannot get over the detail. Also the fact that this is made with traces of ivory. So this piece of furniture would actually be illegal to purchase in Poland today. But back then people really spared no expense for detail. It seems that Polish women have always been looking beautiful. And so if I was living in Przemyśl back then, and if I started Mediacraft in Przemyśl back then, we would have this camera, 1000%. On the surface, many of these churches could appear to be the same, but the one behind me is actually quite different. It's a Greek cathedral. I'm standing on Kazimierz Wielkiego Street. It's one of the oldest streets in Przemyśl, and here you can find many little cafes, shops, and really a nice place to enjoy a stroll. Another fascinating place to visit when you're in Przemyśl is actually underneath the city's municipal building. It's the Przemyśl Underground. So in this chamber of the underground cellar, there used to be storage places for salt, and you can actually still see remnants of the salt on the wall here today. And it brushes right off onto your gloves, which makes me think that that wasn't salt, but this is. Can't resist. So I'm standing in the lowest point of the Przemyśl Underground accessible to the general public. And this area used to be used to store wines and very delicate foods, cheeses, things of that nature. And it's been quite renovated, so I doubt that in its original form it had these fancy lights and spacious openings. I think that it was more full, dank, and functional. Remember, on top of us is the municipal building, and there was also a courthouse in that building at the same time, so it was very convenient. They could house people waiting to be sentenced, or people who were sentenced waiting to transfer them out to a larger prison. And the original doors are actually still down here, so we're going to look and find them, but they would have been where Mark is standing right now to detain prisoners to wait for trial. And that makes me think that being a prisoner in those ages must have been horrible. This is actually the original door that went on top of the detention center, so the prisoners would have a pretty hard time escaping. So the underground Przemyśl is definitely something you have to see if you visit here. It's pretty outstanding to be able to access a place like this. But now I'm going to head back up top and see what else the city has in store for me. Another fascinating thing that you can find in Przemyśl are the underground crypts in this grand cathedral. This is pretty interesting because you can see the development of this monumental church through the ages. Starting, it looked to be actually constructed out of wood in 1212. I could be wrong about that, obviously, but it just progressed and progressed and progressed till today you have a really grand cathedral. I've heard that Catholics collect relics like bones and blood and stuff like that, but I've actually never seen that with my own eyes. That is very distinctive. Alright, this is actually an open crypt, and I've never really seen anything like that before. The individual laying before me has been laying here since 1783, and it's actually really hard to imagine that there's a human body decomposed inside of that clothing. Oh, wow. There's 4 caskets. This looks like it's a piece of the original foundation of this cathedral. And when you think about how old this building is, it's a really powerful thing to be able to reach out and touch the history. We are inside of the castle here in Przemyśl, and beyond this door is a stairway that leads up to the tower. But the guide who sold us the tickets here actually also informed us that if you follow the stairs down, you'll see catacombs. So I'm noticing a little bit of a trend in the city. There's a lot of underground sightseeing to be done. All right, so shall we? Okay. I can't really think of any other way to say it, but this is fucked up. Here you can torture someone and not kill them. And once you're done, you can kill them. And the architects of this device were clever enough to figure out to also keep things practical and include a head catcher. That is very grotesque. We are in the lowest point of the castle dungeon, and this is looking more like a Halloween exhibition than a real museum, but you get the idea. Chained to a wall until you die, and a rat is eating your food, so that's not really much of a fun time. All right, it's a lot of stairs and good exercise, but I'm almost to the top of the castle tower. This place wins hands down if you're looking to go to church, because the city skyline is actually dominated by churches. But other than that, I can say I really love how compact and pint-size everything is. And because Przemyśl is a very hilly kind of place, it adds a lot of mystery and dimension to what would otherwise be a very small and maybe less interesting city. Przemyśl really spoke to me. I love the simple solitude of this very conservative Polish city. And I think that what makes it so special might in part be the fact that it's not so crazy touristic like the other places you'll see, Kraków, Warsaw, Gdańsk, and so on. My question in this video, it's mostly for people who live in Przemyśl or the area. What did I miss here? What should I come back and see? Or what should I maybe come back and film? Please write me in the comments section below, contact me on Twitter or Facebook. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. I'll see you next week.